Shana Tova, everyone. Gamar Chatima Tova. May you be sealed for good things. If we can ask you to take your seats. If you brought in the appendage that is known as your smartphone, please make sure that it's off, that it doesn't go off during the services.
Please join us.
In preparation for Yom Kippur, I offer this prayer. These are the days of awe, the days of judgment. O eternal source of peace, hear our plea. Judge us, inspire us, compel us, so that we will not turn away, never to be silent, never to be numb, never to be distracted, never to let our bewilderment and exhaustion keep us from doing what is right, what is good, and what is demanded of us, O God. To love mercy, pursue justice, and walk humbly. These are the days of discernment, the days of self-examination. God of compassion and love, hear our prayer. Give meaning to our confusion, purpose to our pain, and bring healing to our fragmented hearts. May our tears ease the suffering of another. When we love our neighbor, we transcend. When we love the stranger, we transcend. When we pursue peace, when we hold the world as a vessel of grace, we transcend. These are the days of renewal, the days of life. Lift us, guide us, command our eyes to gaze into the shadows and upon the streets, and to every place that evil strays, and preys upon all that is good and beautiful in our world. Send us forth that we may be your servant, choosing blessing over curse, bearing witness. May we proclaim from the heights and from the depths the power of goodness, beauty, righteousness, and hope. These are the days of holiness, and you are the Holy One of blessing. We will not tire, we will not despair, we will not turn away. You, dear God, are the source of peace in the high heavens. We are the source of peace here on earth. Open our hearts to the call of this sacred night, so that the words of our prayers may remain with us to renew us and to refine us. May our deeds make us worthy to hear your divine assurance. Salachti, I have forgiven. Please rise as the ark is opened. As we're opening the ark and taking the Torahs out, before we ask God for forgiveness, God can't forgive us for sins against each other. So with whomever you came with a friend, a loved one, a neighbor, greet the Yom Kippur on a fresh slate. Hopefully you can forgive those that you came with, that you're sitting with. Offer words of forgiveness, words of sorrow, words of apology. Page 398.
בשיבי של מעלות ובשיבה של מטר על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים. כל נדרי ושרי וחרמי וקונמי וכינויי וכינוסי השבועות דין דרנה ודאשתבנה ודאחרים איי 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 ודיאסרנה על נפשתנו מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים הבא עלינו איי 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 לטובה כל הון יחרטנה והון כל הון איי 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 יהן שרן שוויקין שוויתין בטלין ומבוטלין לשרירים ולקיימים נדרנה לנדרי וסרנה לה אסרי לה יא 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 ושבוע תנה לשבוע כל נדרי ושרי וחרמי וקונמי וכינויי וכינוסי ושבועות דהינדה ודאיש תבנה ודאחרים נא איי 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 ודיאסרנה על נפשתנו מיום כיפורים זה עד יום כיפורים בוא עלינו איי 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 לטובו גורהון יחרטנה והון גורהון איי 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 יהון שרן שוויקין שוויתים בתלן ומבוטלים לשרירים ולקיימים נדרה וסרנה לה אסרי איי 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 ושבוע תונה לשבוע ויסרי וחרמי וכינויי וכינוסי וכינוסי ושבועות ודאישתבנה ודאחרים נא תנדרנה ודאיש תבנה יסרנה Icharatna, Icharatna, Lehon. Yehon Sharan.
Yehon Sharan.
Betennen Vutalim. Nidrana, lo, Nidre. Shavuatana, Shavuatana, la Shavuot. Slachna la'avon ha'am hazeh ki godel chasdecha vecha asher nasata la'am hazeh mimitzrayim v'yad heina v'sham ne'emar
Vayomer Adonai, Salakti kitvarecha.
Vayomer Adonai,
Salakti kitvarecha.
Vayomer Adonai,
Salakti
Kivarecha. Baruch Ata Adonai,
Baruch Shema.
Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Please stay standing. You thought I was going to say sit down. I know. I know. I saw that. Yeah. We're going to turn now to page 408 as we put the Torahs away. The Kol Nidre service is over. The service isn't over, but the Kol Nidre section of it is, and we're going to do the Mariv service. You want to do it? Ah. Okay, but before we do that, sit down. I have a joke, and I'm not going to be able to use it. That's fine. We're on the bottom of page 404. I guess I have one more thing to beat my chest over. I almost skipped that. I'm sorry, choir. Now we're going to turn to page 408. In just a moment, I'm going to ask you to rise for the Baruch, which is the formal call to prayer. This is a night that is both strange and different and also incredibly routine. And one of the routines we have whenever we come together to pray, whenever we have 10 people, whenever we have a minyan, is the Baruch Hu, that we turn now to page 408. Please rise.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
המעריב ערבים כי הם חיינו ויורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo.
אוהב עמו ישראל
On the top of page 412, we come to words that might be very familiar to you. They might be the first words you ever learned in Hebrew. The Shema is more than a prayer. It's more than a motto. It's something that's within us. It's traditional to say it every morning and every night. Every morning when we wake up, it says it even in the paragraph, Ushachtecha, when you lie down and when you wake up. And so from this tradition, we get that the last thing we say at night should be the Shema. And so we put our children to bed with these words of faith, these words that link us back through the millennia to Jews who have come before us. And because tonight is a little different, we do it a little differently. Where normally, if you look on page 412, the second line, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed, praise be God's glorious sovereignty forever and ever. Every other night of the year, we read that silently. It's not the originally part of the text, but there was a tradition in the in the temple in Jerusalem to say those words loudly and with full voice. And so on Yom Kippur, we mix these old and new traditions, and we recreate the moment in the temple where our ancestors said, Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. So we'll do the Shema, and then we'll do the second line out loud.
Listen, Israel, Adonai Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Please join us. Listen, Israel. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel, Adonai, our God is one. Listen, Israel,
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
ונעתים את ארצכם, ושמתם תורו על משכם לכם, למען
We continue on the top of page 416.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור, דבר אל מי אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We continue on the middle of page 418.
מלכותך ראו ורצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה איי 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 ואמרו כולם מי כמוך אלוהים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש דורות תהילו עושה ולב מלכותך ראו בניך וכי הים לפני משה זה אלי אנו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך שמו
בגלל ישראל
We're on the top of page 420.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו
Shalom.
פרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני. ישראל ביער ירושלים.
Because it's Shabbat, we have a special paragraph that we say on the middle of page 420, Vishamru, which we'll sing together.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. איי 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 ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי של ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, וביום השביעי שבת
Yasher Koach. What does it mean when a rabbi puts his watch on a podium? Absolutely nothing. That's right. Hold on one second. Sorry. Okay. If your collar is bothering you, please, if you're a gentleman who wore a tie here, please feel free to loosen it. God's prayers, your prayers to God are not contingent on the tightness of your collar at all. I promise. You can, please, yes. All right, good. One time, a rabbi got a phone call from a mother of an upcoming bat mitzvah. Now, if you've done a bar bat mitzvah in your family, you know this is not a rare occurrence to call the rabbi or somebody in the synagogue for something. But she had a specific reason she was calling the rabbi. She talked to the rabbi and she said, I don't know what to do. My daughter doesn't believe in God anymore. Rabbi, what do I do? So the rabbi told her to bring her to the office, bring the daughter to the office, and they would have a conversation. So the kid came in, she sat down in the office, and the mom sat down with the child. Now, if you've ever worked with parents and children, you know that this is a way to have children never speak, is to make sure their parents are in the room. Every time the rabbi addressed a question to the daughter, the mom would answer. So the rabbi gently suggested maybe the mom go out, get a coffee, decaf, and And the rabbi would talk to this girl. So finally, they spoke, and he said to her, after she left, the mom said, fine, good luck, do what you want. I don't know why I always make her like a New Yorker, but that probably says something about my psyche. All right, do what you want, fine, darling. All right. So when she left, the rabbi asked the child what she thought about becoming a bat mitzvah. Now, if you've ever had a teenager, worked with teenagers, or met a teenager, you know this look. What about becoming a bat mitzvah? I don't know. Kids are great, aren't they? Monosyllabic when you don't want them to be. But after a few minutes, the rabbi finally managed, don't worry, it's not going to catch on fire. The rabbi managed to steer the conversation back to the bat mitzvah. He said, I heard from your mom that you don't want to have a bat mitzvah because you don't believe in God. Is that true? Guess what her reaction was? I don't know. Exactly, right. So you know her. All right, fantastic. So the rabbi said, okay, tell me about this God. And she just said, I told you, I don't believe in God. He said, okay, I know. But tell me about the God you don't believe in. What do you mean? What does that mean you don't believe in? What is it you don't believe in? So finally, after her teeth were pulled out of her mouth, she described a God with a long white beard, wearing sandals on a throne up high with lists of who's good and who's bad, punishing, writing in the book of life. And after she was done, once she finally opened up, she didn't stop talking. And finally, when she was done, the rabbi said, wow, okay. He said, that's not God, that's Santa Claus, and I don't believe in him either. Every single person has a theology that's personal to them. What we think about God is inextricably linked to our experience on this planet. What we go through in life influences our belief of a divinity. I can only speak for myself, so if I get a little personal here, I hope you'll bear with me. When I was a kid, my parents used to read to me every night before I'd go to bed. And I still remember one of the books they had was this oversized, beautifully illustrated Tales of the Bible. I don't know if any of you had a book like this, but it was all in English. And by the way, every single one of our ancestors was ripped. They were all in the best shape in the world. Every man had muscles, just definition you could work on for years and never get. Darling, I tell you, anyway. So I remember these stories of Samson, of Shimshon, with his rippling muscles trying to break down the walls of the Philistine, or Jacob and Rachel. She was demurely dressed in, for some reason I remember the color, it was turquoise. She was dressed in turquoise, and he was, again, this just hunky guy rolling a rock off the well. I remember the Tower of Babel, beautifully illustrated, going up to the heavens with people who spoke all different languages. And then there was another character I remember, and this character was never shown on the page. It was in almost every story, but you never got to see this character. A character that would come by and smite the evil and save the righteous. Of course, you know the character I'm talking about is God. Throughout the children's book, and throughout the Torah, we read stories in which God watches over people and protects them. God splits seas and brings plagues. God resurrects the dead and saves people from a burning furnace. When you're a kid, I remember going to bed dreaming about these scenarios, about these images of God just doing all these different things and caring about God's creations. It was instilled in me, this idea that God was always there, always watching. Not watching in a judgmental kind of way, but just looking out, making sure I was safe. I grew up in an Orthodox community, an Orthodox family, and I have to tell you that image of God, it was so comforting. It was so wonderful. It's a great way to grow up, to know that there's someone out there always watching, making sure you're okay. It's such a comfort and feels so safe to think of a divine parent that will protect you from harm. A father who will comfort you when you're in pain, a mother who will shield you from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. As children, it's so important to feel safe. It's essential to know that we can trust, that we can let our guard down at times, and that we don't have to be afraid. But that comfort, that security can turn into disillusion and resentment when the God we learned about as children somehow no longer fits with our experience of the world. When the God we see in the Torah seems like a pipe dream or a child's fable. That feeling feels so isolating and alone. You were told this as a kid as well, that God is perfect, all-knowing, all-powerful. We've read the words of the Psalms, Nar ha'iti v'gam zakanti v'lo ra'iti tzadik ne'ezav. I have been young and now I am old, and I have never seen the righteous forgotten. I have never seen God's children begging for bread. We know all too well that's not the world we live in. That's not the world that surrounds us. We live in a world in which the righteous have been forgotten. Good people suffer terribly, and yes, at times wicked people succeed. When we think of an all-powerful God who does nothing to intercede on behalf of the righteous or oppressed, we wonder just a little bit if that theology we're taught in our childhood was a lie. It can be so lonely to lose faith in a personal God. It can be so isolating to stop believing in the God who splits seas and protects people. Again, personally, I can tell you when it happened. I was in my second year of rabbinical school when my friend was diagnosed with cancer, and I was in third when he died. He died younger than I am right now, with 3 young children. He made his home just up the road. His name was Joel, and he was the most wonderful soul you could ever meet. The kindest man, taken way too early. I remember the rage I felt. I remember the anger. It's lonely. It's lonely to be like that girl in the story. It's too hard to reconcile our lives sometimes with the idea that God is a benevolent king who protects and guards our life, all our goings and our comings now and forever. Dr. Neil Gilman calls it our first naivete, that image of God as a protective parent and king who guards us and watches us and judges us. Personally, when I lost that, I remember feeling a hole in my heart. It was another death. Another person had passed away to me. For those of you sitting here on Yom Kippur, whatever your personal view of God, you have a place here. Whether you believe in a God of splitting seas or personal intervention, if you find it hard to believe in any deity at all, you have a place. Because here's the truth about our beliefs in God. Whatever our opinions are, we'll never know. We'll never know what the truth is. We know what we believe. And the truth, because it's impossible to prove or disprove any of it, we end up choosing what we believe, what our life has shaped our theology to be. Now, unless I'm mistaken, God will never manifest in a thunderbolt or splitting sea. If that's happened to you, I have some people you can talk to and some medicine you can take. But on the other hand, science will never prove to me that there's nothing outside of the matter. There's nothing outside of science. I believe in something more. And so our brains need to reset. Like a computer. You ever have a computer go haywire? We have to go to our default settings to allow our view of God to compute with the world we experience. But we do need a view of something. Rabbi Avram Kook, the first Ashkenazi chief rabbi of Israel, describes what it is to live without a life of God. He said, "The spirit cannot find stability except in a life oriented toward God. Then we will be able to find our fulfillment, our equitable and satisfying state." If a person should see themselves seek for themselves less than this exalted state, they will at once become like a ship tossed about at sea. Stormy waves raging in opposite directions will continually rob us of peace. We will be thrown from wave to wave and unable to find ourselves. If we should be able to immerse ourselves in some preoccupation, we may succeed for a time in reducing the perspective of our life. And it'll seem that we have found peace. But it won't take long. And the spirit will break out of its imprisonment, and the maddening agitation will begin to act in all its fury. It's pretty heavy. And we may not think of our lives as God-centered, but that's okay. But you know what he's describing. You know what Rabbi Rav Kook is describing. At times we've still seen our lives, other people's lives, filled with other, as he calls it, preoccupations. We've seen negative ones. We've seen people fill that hole with drugs, sex, advancement, money, whatever it is. They fill the void. They try to fill it, that void they feel. They didn't seem to be a preoccupation, but the truth is they are. They can only satiate us temporarily. And sometimes we say, no, we would never do that. We don't center our lives around objects or pursuits. And instead, we center our lives around our children or our spouse. We think that working for their benefit will fill a void and give our lives meaning. And hey, I'm not knocking raising kids. It's important. It's important to invest in our relationships. They're admirable pursuits, but they cannot be our center. Children cannot be the center of our lives. No one else can be. Children and spouses cannot live up to the immense pressure we put on them if we make them the center of our existence. Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, one of the forefathers of the Musar movement. If you want to know what the Musar movement is, you can see me later, or you can see some people around here. He wrote that human beings were created for the sole purpose of rejoicing in God and deriving pleasure from God in our life. Okay. Maybe our theology doesn't allow us to revolve around God. Maybe even the name God for some of us is too much. Maybe the name is too heavy with judgment and unmet expectations, so we need a different language. What both Rav Kook and Rabbi Luzzatto are saying, they're describing moments of transcendence. It's that moment when we're able to attach ourselves to something greater than us. Do you remember the first time you felt loved? Think back. Remember a moment. Maybe it was a sunset or a spiritual experience when you felt moved, when you felt your soul touched. To paraphrase a Supreme Court justice, you know it when you see it. We've all had these moments when we're moved, when something deep within us is stirred and feeling connected and spoken to. When I worked at Beit Shuvah, they called it God shots. Shots of God. They liked alcohol. That was their nomenclature. I like to call them Sinai moments. If you think about it, the revelation at Sinai is a symbol of spiritual heights. It represents an apex when we, as a collective people and as individuals, experienced the divine. But we didn't stay there. We had to move along. We don't live in a state of spiritual ecstasy. And while we don't experience Mount Sinai, while we won't have that same revelation, we do have moments of transcendence. That moment when the layer between ourselves and the other, between ourselves and connecting to something greater, that layer between us, that membrane is thinned just a little. This is the alternative to chasing exterior items or adulation. Instead of making either objects or people the center of our lives, we can seek out moments that fulfill our soul. If you want to call them moments of God, that's fine, you can do that. But if you're uncomfortable with the terminology, then call them moments of oneness, of enlightenment. That's where divinity is found. That moment when our ego shrinks and we're no longer the ends of our existence. We're just the means to something bigger. When we are not the reason we're here, we are here for a larger reason. The mystics of Kabbalah believed that as a part of the creation of the world, holy vessels were broken into tiny pieces, and each one of those pieces contained a spark of the divine. Nitzitzot, they called them. When we come together, when we experience those moments of transcendence, when we help each other, when we plug into something larger than ourselves, we're putting those shards, those sparks together. We're recreating the world. We're adding God to the world. When we do acts of godliness or have a moment of profound spiritual ecstasy, we are uniting the sparks of the divine and increasing God's presence in the world. This year, may you be blessed to have so many of those moments. May you find transcendence in each other, in a higher calling, in study, in reflection, and may you all be inscribed in the book of life. Gamar Chatima Tova. We continue our service. On page 422 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה וילמד דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון ומחון וחיי לכל בית ישראל בהגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה לעילא לעילא מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבעתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמא אמרו amen.
Please rise as we turn to page 424 as we sing the Adonai Svatai before the silent Amidah. The silent Amidah is on page 424 through page 441.
עושה שלום, 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 במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום, 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 במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום, 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 במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, 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 במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. ועל כל ישראל ואמרו
Please rise as we open the ark and turn, and turn to page 400. You scared me. And turn to page 446. Don't do that to me.
יעלה יעלה תחנותינו מעליו, ויבוא שבתנו מבוקר, וירא רינוננו עד ערב, וירא רינוננו עד ערב. יעלה יעלה קולנו יבוא צדקתנו מבוקר, וירא בדיוננו עד ערב, וירא בדיוננו עד ערב. יעלה יעלה דופקנו בערב, ויבוא גילנו מבוקר, וירא בקשתנו עד ערב, וירא בקשתנו עד ערב. יעלה יעלה אין גדנו מערב, ויבוא אליך מבוקר, וירא אלינו עד ערב, וירא אלינו עד ערב.
Please stay standing as we turn to page 454.
Adonai, Adonai, El Rachum V'Chanun, Erech Apayim V'Rav Chesed V'Emet, Notzer Chesed Le'alafim, Notzer Avon V'Fesha V'Chata V'Nakeh. וחטא ונקי וסלחת לעווננו ולחטאותינו ונחלתנו. סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו, מחלנו מלכנו כי פשענו, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, כי אתה אדוני טוב וסלח, ורב חסד ורב חסד לכל קוראיך, ורב חסד ורב חסד לכל קוראיך.
You may be seated.
Wow, things look differently from up here. This is great. So, this was very unexpected that I'm standing here before you tonight addressing you on Kol Nidre. It was definitely not something that was on my radar a year ago. Actually, being this involved in synagogue life was really not something I had ever thought about. Since Rabbi shared something about his childhood, I'll share something about mine. A little background. I'm an original Valley girl, raised without a Jewish education or synagogue affiliation. As I shared in my article in this month's Voice, the High Holy Days were unpleasant and confusing for my sister and me because we never went to shul. We felt like outsiders from our own religion. Jewish customs overall seemed to me to be more like strict rules intended to make one feel unworthy if not followed. Going to shul was intimidating because I didn't know Hebrew and I didn't know the prayers. How could a place and practice like this be welcoming, comforting, and meaningful? I'm being open and honest about my journey from being completely unaffiliated and disconnected to standing here before you on this bema tonight as president of this synagogue. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would be president of a temple. I ended up on this road because I found purpose and meaning, relevance and guidance through Jewish wisdom. From life cycle events like the birth of my children to the deaths of my father and father-in-law. From becoming a bereavement supporter to president of Women of Aliyah, from learning about Judaism through my children as they attended preschool, religious school, and then celebrating their B'nai Mitzvah. Through all these key moments in my life, I was moved, I was comforted, and inspired by our clergy and our community. And I'm pretty sure many of you have had similar experiences. Which brings me to this moment here with all of you. It's Kol Nidre, we're all here together on one night, and basically you're my captive audience, so I'm gonna take advantage of that. So here's my big question. For thousands of years, Jewish teaching has served us well. So what are we going to do to make sure Judaism continues to flourish for generations? Because even though Jewish wisdom hasn't changed, synagogue life has. And we need to figure this out, and we need to figure it out together. Earlier this year, we began a visioning and planning process with the assistance of United Synagogue, our national conservative organization. This project brought to light many interesting insights into our community. We're doing some things very well, and there are some things that we need to improve upon. But what I find to be the most significant and challenging is that there are two distinct communities here at Temple Aliyah. There are those that embrace tradition in Jewish life, and there are those that embrace progression in Jewish life. In a very spot-on article in the September 14th, 2017 edition of the Jewish Telegraph, Steve Wernick, he's CFO of the United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism, said this: "We are living at a moment of great disruption. We all sense it. We all experience it. It impacts every aspect of our lives, from education to economics, politics, social society. Judaism is not immune to these forces." Rabbi Wernick adds, "In order to keep and attract members, we need to figure out how the congregation enhances and expands the key moments of people's lives and functions as a catalyst for their passions through Judaism. In other words, it's about purpose, not program. It's about meaning, not membership. As Rabbi Wernick says, the Jewish future is not yet fully defined. From the bottom of my heart, I'm asking each of you to help define the future of Judaism right here at our beloved Temple Aliyah. There has to be a way for those of us who embrace tradition and those of us who embrace progression to meet at what Rabbi Wernick calls the intersection of heritage and progress. I love that. Let's dedicate ourselves to working together, honoring our tradition while guiding the necessary progress of Jewish life so that Temple Aliyah and conservative Judaism will continue to flourish for many generations and enhance the key moments of our lives, so it will function as a catalyst for passions for the next generation while inspiring the disconnected as I once was. If you could just close your eyes for a moment and consider, for instance, how losing a loved one or celebrating the birth of a child would have been different without Judaism in your life. This may sound strange, but when my father passed, having Rabbi Volga at the hospital the night before he passed away and then officiating at the funeral gave me a sense of peace that I really don't think I would have experienced at such a terrible time had I not belonged here. I've heard from many of you that the future of conservative Judaism is very important to you, and I completely agree. So I'm asking for your assistance to make this happen. Let's start the new year by sharing your thoughts and ideas with me, with David Brooke, with the clergy, other members of the board, or the visioning committee. What types of Shabbat services would you like to see that would encourage you to come more often? What's a fair membership dues model? What do you want your children and grandchildren to get out of religious school? These are just a few of the many topics that we need to address. And this isn't easy work, but it's necessary if Temple Aliyah is to continue to flourish for generations. So please get involved and volunteer to help. We need to work on this together, and we need you. I'm hoping for another unexpected and amazing occurrence, just like having the privilege of chatting with you tonight on Kol Nidre. I'm hoping that together we will create a legacy for Temple Aliyah and Judaism so that it will continue to enhance the key moments of our lives and function as a catalyst for passions for the next generation. I invite you all to join me on this journey. Gemar Hatima Tova, may you all be sealed in the book of life.
Now that you've been sitting for more than a minute or two, guess what comes next? Please rise as we turn to page 458 and we open, we open the ark.
Shema Koleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chus v'rachem aleinu v'kabel berachamim v'kabel berachamim uveratzon et tfilateinu et tfilateinu uveratzon et tfilateinu et tfilateinu. The English is in your prayer book. Hear our voice, Lord our God. Spare us in your gracious love. Uveratzon et tfilateinu, et tfilateinu. Uveratzon et tfilateinu, et tfilateinu. תשליכנו מלפניך ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה ככלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו אדוני אלוהינו אל תרחק ממנו.
We turn to page 460 as we stay standing for Ki'anu Amma.
אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו סלח לנו מחל לנו כפר לנו כי אנו עמך ואתה אלוהינו אנו עמך ואתה אבינו אנו עבדיך ואתה אדוננו אנו קראנך ואתה חלקנו אנו נחלתך ואתה גורלנו אנו שונאך ואתה רואינו אנו חרמך ואתה לוטנו אנו גאולתך ואתה יוצרנו אנו רעייתך ואתה דודנו אנו סגולתך ואתה יוצרנו אנו עמך ואתה מלכנו אנו מאמיניך ואתה מאמינינו.
We turn to page 462 as we enter the portion of our service that's the confessional, when we beat our chests, when we atone for our sins. This is the official confessional. Let's read together on the top of page 463. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our prayers come before you, and may you not ignore our pleas. We are neither so arrogant nor so stubborn as to declare that we are righteous and have not sinned, for we have sinned.
Ay, 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 Ashamenu, Bagadnu, Gazalnu, Ibarnu Dofi, ay, 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 Evinu, Hirshanu, Zadnu, Hamasnu, Tafalnu Sheker, Yatznu Ra, Gizavnu, Latznu, Maradnu, Miatznu. רשענו, צררנו, ישינו אורם, רשענו, שיחתנו, תאבנו, טעינו, טעתנו.
We turn now to page 467. Chazan Stein all together will say the words, Al chet shechatanu lefanecha, which means we have sinned against you, and we'll finish each line in the English.
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
By hardening our hearts,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by speaking perversely,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
publicly and privately,
ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by corrupt speech,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by evil thoughts,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by insincere
על
confession,
חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
intentionally and unintentionally,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by desecrating your name.
ועל כולם אלוהי סליחה, שלח לנו וחלנו, כעבר לנו, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
By foolish talk,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
knowingly and unknowingly,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by bribery,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by slander,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
eating and drinking,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
false
יד
pride.
אחרון, ועל כולם אלוהי סליחות, סלח לנו וחלנו, כעבר לנו, על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by wanton glances,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by effrontery,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by perverting justice,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by envy,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by being stubborn,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by tail-bearing,
על חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
by causeless hatred,
ועל חטא שחטאנו לפניך,
confusion of values,
ועל כולם אלוהי סליחה, סלח לנו וחלנו, כעבר לנו, ועל כולם סלח לנו וחלנו, סלח לנו וחלנו, כעבר לנו.
You may be seated. I don't know about you, but when I was younger, I used to have my one finger in the page where we were, and one finger, did this just go? And one finger where I wanted us to get. And every time we skipped some pages, I felt so good. On that note, we turn to page 476. I know, Kaddish Shalem.
We never skipped a page.
No, never skipped a page.
No.
Amen.
ביומני וחיותי, ביומני וכמחותי בחיי אחון, וימכון וחיי אלוהי ישראל וגאולה בזמן קריב, יאמרו אמן. יהי שמירה במבורך, לעולם ולעולם מעיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתברך ותרומם וינשא ויתודה ויתעלה ותלה שמי דקודשה.
בריחו.
בריחו לאלה לאלה מכל בכתב שירתה שפחת המלאכם עד המרן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותנו ודהון ביתי של גורם ושמיה ויאמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרב מן שמיו וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרמה, והוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ויאמרו
Amen. Comfy? Please rise as we turn to page 478 for the Aleinu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל העולם, ואנחנו קוראים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. הוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר לו לסוס ומשוב וכבר בשמיים מעל. שכינת הוא זו וקובעים ואומרים, אין עוד. אוקיי, נקווה לך. תמלוך עליהם, וכתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר
You may be seated. In our community this week, we commemorate the yahrzeits of Lena Abramson, Ida Amowitz, Max Barishman, Albert Brelo, Jack Frankel, Clement Litwin, Sarah Marchant, Leon Marcus, Beatrice Perlo, Maurice Seig Schreiga, Lena Spiegel, Edith Ferdman, Gertrude Manick, May Middlemark, Gary Roshba, Ronald Retton, Isaac Edelman, Julia Frengant, Rebecca Goldstein, Samuel Huskovitz, Chaim Jacobi, Jacob Mandel, Fanny Poppel, Mary Sidis, Michael Smugar, Yocheved Bauder, Shirley Douglas, Gershon Kuchich, Betty Levy, Marvid Madnick, Joe Minogue, Theodore Rakowski, Wilfred Shatskin, Harry Tobias, Larry Bonger, Harriet Lila Goodman, Richard Henderson, Minnie Horowitz, Esther Rosenberg, Agnes Spiegel, Sidney Berkowitz, Pearl Blankstein, Sadie Blaustein, Harold Cohen, Irvin B. Cohen, Rochelle Frankel, Dorothy Sandomirsky Krause, Jay Perlman, Pauline Schanzer, Jacob Schoenberg, Brian Sunderland, Suzanne Brandt, Paul Eisner, Louis Gabo, Bertha Honig, Mitchell Cantor, Florence Krieger, Sam Limmerman, Ruth Perlman, Leonard Sanders, and Doris Sedley. May all of their memories be a blessing. Also like to offer condolences to the family of Michael Turitz, husband of Bert Turitz, Roberta Turitz, longtime member of our synagogue. Also to the family of Aftab Khalili, to the Aminia family, to Dina and Ben, and to Lisa. Our condolences are Amakom Yanachem Etchem B'toch Sha'ar of Leit Zion v'Yerushalayim. All those who have a need or desire to say the Mourner's Kaddish, please rise on page 482. Yitgadal v'yitgadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru, Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudasha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'elma v'imru amen Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim ainu ve'al kol Yisrael Amen. Oseh Shalom. Amen. You may be seated. There's a guy stuck in a hole. He was walking down the street, and he falls into a hole, and he's in trouble. He doesn't know how to get out. And after a while, a priest passes, and he says, Father, Father, I'm stuck in this hole. I don't know how to get out. Priest writes him a prayer, throws it down in the hole for him. A few minutes later, a doctor comes by. He says, Doc, I'm stuck in this hole. I don't know how to get out. I'd make a doctor as God joke right now, but anyway, it's late. The doc takes out his prescription pad, writes him a prescription, throws it down in the hole. Finally, after what seems like forever, his friend Bill walks by. And he says, Bill, help, I'm stuck in this hole. Bill jumps right down into the hole. And he said, Bill, what are you doing? Now we're both stuck in the hole. And Bill looks at his friend and he says, yeah, but I've been here before, and I know how to get out. What our president talked about community, about being there for each other, that's what community is all about. It's celebrating together and also being in those moments when we're in the hole and we don't know how to get out, being there as friends, as community members, as family that we choose. I wish you all a Gamar Chatima Tova, may you be inscribed in the book of life for good things. Amen. We're going to conclude our services on page 488. By the way, happy birthday, Montrose. Page 488 with Adon Olam.
יציר נברא לעד נעשה וחפצו אזי מלך שמו נקרא היי ואחרי ככלות הכל לבדו אם לא נורא והוא היה והוא הווה והוא יהיה בתפארה והוא אחד ואין שני להמשיך לו להחזיק רק בלי ראשית בלי תכלית ולא העוז והמשרה בלי וגי וחי גורלי וצורכב לי ויצרה והוא ניסי ומנוסי מנת כוסי ביום אקרא בידו בעת אישה רוחי גבייתי אדוני